everyone, this is me Sahitya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we'll discuss about basic structure of our Indian Constitution. So let's begin. So here we will discuss basic structure of our Indian Constitution based on M. Lakshmikant and UPSC notes. So basic structure doctrine is one of the most important topics in Indian polity for UPSC prelims, GS2, essay and interview. It explains the limitation on parliamentary power to amend the constitution. So we'll move to the constitutional position. So topic is amendment of constitution provisions, article 368, and basic structure doctrine. Judicial doctrine provision is not mentioned in our constitution. So we'll move to the introduction. So introduction is the constitution gives parliament the power to amend constitution under article 368. However, this power is not unlimited. So basic structure doctrine states parliament can amend any part of the constitution. It cannot destroy or alter its basic structure or essential features. So this doctrine protects the identity and core philosophy of our constitution. So why was the doctrine needed? So in early years after independence, parliament and the judiciary disagreed over whether parliament could amend fundamental rights. Question arose, can parliament amend every articles? Can it abolish fundamental rights? Can it convert India into dictatorship? So to resolve this problem, the Supreme Court evolved the basic structure doctrine. So historical development we'll discuss. First is Sankari Prasad case 1951. So issue, can parliament amend fundamental rights? Judgment, yes. The Supreme Court held that parliament's amendment power under article 368 included fundamental rights. Result, parliament had wide amendment powers. So second one is Sajjan Singh case 1965. Judgment, the court again upheld parliament's power to amend fundamental rights. However, some judges expressed concern about unlimited amendment power. Golak Nath case 1967. Landmark change. The Supreme Court held parliament cannot amend fundamental rights. Reason, amendment was treated as law under article 13. Any law violating fundamental rights is void. Result, parliament powers was restricted. 24th Constitutional Amendment Act 1971, parliament responded by amending the constitution. Main changes, parliament can amend any part of the constitution. President must give assent to constitutional amendment bills. This restored parliament amendment power. So fourth one is Kesavananda Bharati case 1973. Most popular cases in Indian constitutional law. So a 13 bench, the largest in Supreme Court history, delivered the judgment. Judgment was the parliament can amend any part of the constitution, including fundamental rights, but parliament cannot alter or destroy the basic structure of Indian constitution. So thus the basic structure doctrine was born from Kesavananda Bharati case 1973. So we'll move to the meaning of basic structure. So the constitution does not define basic structure. It consists of those fundamental principles that give the constitution its identity. These features cannot be destroyed even through a constitutional amendment. And now we'll move to the features of the basic structure. The Supreme Court has identified several features over time. Supreme Court first, supremacy of our constitution. The constitution is the highest law of the land. Example, no law can override the constitution. And second one is sovereign socialist secular democratic republic, SSSRD. This nature of the Indian state cannot be changed. Example, India cannot be declared a monarchy. Rule of law, everyone is equal before the law. Example, even the Prime Minister is subject to the constitution. Fourth one is separation of powers. Division of powers among legislature, executive and judiciary. Example, courts cannot make laws, parliament cannot make perform judicial functions. And fifth one is judicial review. Supreme Court and High Courts can strike down unconstitutional laws. Example, if Parliament passes a law violating Article 14, the courts can declare it unconstitutional. Sixth one, judicial independence. Judges must function without political interference. Example, security of tenure for Supreme Court judges. And 7, federalism. So division of powers between the union and states. Example, subjects are distributed through union, state and concurrent lists. 8th, parliamentary systems. India follows the British model. Example, the Prime Minister and Councils of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. And 9th, free and fair elections. Essential for democracy. Example, Independent Election Commission conducts elections. And 10th, secularism. The state has no official religion, treats all religions equally. Example, citizens are free to profess, practice, propagate religion under Article 25 to 28 that we discussed already in fundamental rights. So now move to the fundamental rights. Core rights cannot be destroyed. Example, Parliament cannot abolish right to equality. So 12th, unity and integrity of India. The sovereignty, territorial integrity of India must be preserved. And 13th, balance between fundamental rights and BPSPs. So neither should dominate the other and both must function harmoniously. Dignity of the individual. Constitution protects human dignity and liberty. And 15th and last one but not the least, welfare state. The state must work towards social and economical justice. Now we'll move to the important Supreme Court cases. So Indira Gandhi cases 1975 added free and fair elections, rule of law to the basic structure. Minerva Mills case 1980 talks about harmony between fundamental rights and DPSP is the part of basic structure. Also ruled the limited amending power and itself is a basic structure feature. Vaman Rao case 1981 talks about applied the basic structure doctrine to the constitutional amendment made after 24 April 1973, the date of the Kesavananda Bharati judgment. And S.R. Bomai case 1994 talks about secularism is the part of the basic structure. And now we'll move to the Iyer Kolho case 2007 talks about even law placed in the 9th schedule after 24th April 1973 can be reviewed if they violate the basic structure. So we'll move to the characteristics of doctrine. First one is judicially involved, not mentioned in the constitution. And second one is protects constitutional identity. And third one is limits parliament's amending power. And fourth one, strengthens constitutional supremacy. And last one, preserve democracy. And we'll move to the criticism of our basic structure to Indian Constitution. So first one is not mentioned in the Constitution. Critics argue that the doctrine has explicit constitutional basis. No fixed list. The Supreme Court has not provided an exhaustive list of basic structure features. And third one is judicial activism. Some believe in the judiciary has expanded its role by creating the doctrine. And now we'll move to the significance of our basic structure in our Indian Constitution. So first one, preserve authoritarian rule, and second one is protects democracy, and third one is safeguards fundamental rights, and fourth one maintains constitutional supremacy, and last one preserves checks and balances. Now we'll discuss timeline. So 1951 Sankari Prasad event happened. 1965 Sajjan Singh. 1967 Golaknath. 1971 24th Constitutional Amendment. And 1973 Kesavananda Bharati case. And 1975 Indira Gandhi case. And 1980 Minerva Mills case. 1981 Waman Rao case, and 1994 SR Bommai case event happened, and 2007 IR Kolho incident happened. And now move to the evolution of parliamentary amending power. So case and parliament's power. Sankari Prasad, unlimited power it gave, and Sajjang Singh also gave unlimited power to parliament, and Golaknath cannot amend fundamental rights. And Kesavananda Bharati can amend but cannot alter basic structure. Now we'll move to the prelims oriented facts topic, and here it is fact. So Article 368 doctrine created in Kesavananda Bharati case 1973 mentioned in constitution, no. Largest bench 13 judges were incorporated to give judgment, and landmark principles limited amending power. So we will move to the men's value addition. Quote from the Kesavananda Bharati judgment: the constitution is not mere legal document, it is vehicle of life, and its spirit is always and the spirit of age. One line revision will discuss. Article 368 talks about power to amend the constitution, and basic structure cannot be altered or destroyed, and creator Supreme Court. And landmark cases Kesavananda Bharati 1973, and nature judicial doctrine, and purpose protects constitutional identity. Mnemonics to remember basic structure features. Then S3R J2 FP DUB. So S for supremacy of constitution, and S for sovereignty, and S for secularism, and R stand for rule of law, and J stands for judicial review, and J again stands for judicial independence, and F stands for federalism, and P stands for parliamentary democracy, and D stands for democracy and free and fair elections, and U stands for unity and integrity, and now B stands for balance between fundamental rights and BPSPs. So now move to the conclusion. So conclusion is the basic structure doctrine is the constitutional safety valve of Indian democracy. It strikes a balance between parliamentary power to amend constitution and the judiciary responsibility to preserve its core values by ensuring that constitution identity remains intact. The doctrine safeguards democracy, the rule of law, judicial independence, federalism, secularism, and rights of citizens for future generation. So, thank you.